online?
I
Is
see
that right?
Gary.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Vicky, yeah, Gary's here. I think Dr. Finkelstein is here.
And
And
Stephanie?
Stephanie and maybe Karen Fasano as well.
Karen's here too.
Yep.
Oh, great.
Lisa Connolly was our other one.
She's on as well.
Perfect. Great. Thank you.
All right. Very good. Well, good evening, everybody. I'm calling the meeting to order for our town council meeting Monday, November the 9th. It is a little after 7. Somebody give me an exact time, please. 7:07 I have.
7:07.
7:07.
Oh, so we call it together at 7. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Tom Lombardi,
Here.
James Morelli, Christopher Palmieri,
Here.
Christopher Poulos,
Here.
Paul Chaplinsky,
Here.
Michael Del Santo,
Present.
Valerie DiPaolo,
Here.
William Dietzick,
Here.
Victoria Triano.
Here. Madam Clerk, would you do the prayer for us right now?
Certainly. Heavenly Father, open our eyes this evening to the truth and reality of every situation that we encounter. Give us solutions that are best for our community now and in the future. Keep your hand upon Southington and continue to make her great. Amen.
Amen. Would you all join us for the salute, please? I pledge the flag of the United States and to the republic one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated and could I have a motion on the minutes from last meeting, please?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second, Mike Del Santo.
Mike Del Santo seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? No, I don't think so. Okay, it passes unanimously. Shane, I know Hartford Healthcare is next on the program, and if they would just be just give it a minute or two. I want to recognize Shane first, only because I think Hartford Healthcare will also add to Shane's report. So Shane, could you give us your report first, and then we'll go right in to Hartford Health.
Sure. Thanks very much for the opportunity to update the town. I know Hartford Healthcare is on the line, and I just want to give them a big thank you. Once the town went red, we already started to plan a clinic in town. I know we have a site walk later on this week, and hopefully we could announce a testing location by the end of this week, early next week. So Hartford Healthcare has already done a great job for the health district. They held one last week in Plainville that tested about 159 people, and they conducted one in Middlefield this morning that I think tested 122, and we expect the Southington one, when announced, to be even more attended. For the time being, I know the urgent cares in town have testing ability, so if anybody wants to get tested, I suggest they visit their urgent care in town right now. Just as a quick update, Southington went into the red alert status last week, which just means that there's, as a case rate, it's 15 cases per 100,000. Again, it's a rate. It's a good way of comparing towns, no matter what size they are. It's not a surprise. Right now, over 60 towns are in the red status, so certainly not a surprise. What we can do to get out of red status is everything we've been talking about since March. It's going to be socially distance yourself, wear your mask, wash your hands. This is really spread right now in small groups for the most part. So again, limit your group activity to really those in your household. And one I really want to stress that I've mentioned before, if you're sick, stay home. If you're a contact of someone who is a positive case, stay home. I can't stress that enough. We're seeing a lot of community-wide transmission throughout the state. And again, what's going to help is those people who are sick or close contacts of those who are sick really need to stay home for that 14 days. So that's a quick update. Again, we're looking at testing. and we're continue doing contact tracing, both at the health district, the state health department's helping us, and then the schools are taking care of their own. So I think right now we have a pretty good approach to this, but I'm happy to answer any questions from the council if there are any.
Anyone have a question for Shane? Paul, you're going to have to help me because I have a very small screen.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Val.
Shane, thanks for the update. So I just have a quick question about the types of tests. I know there's the rapid tests, and then there's a test that's done maybe a couple of days later. What are your thoughts on that? Like, should people know the different types of tests, or when they go to the urgent care, they will ask them questions and do the test that they feel is appropriate?
Well, I know Dr. Finkelstein is on the phone, and I think
I'm going to address that in my
one-
presentation.
Yeah,
Oh,
so I
great.
think Dr. Finkelstein will be able to address that a little bit better than me,
Okay.
and I look forward to his answer on that.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have a question for Shane? Okay, thank you, Shane. We appreciate your.
Thank you.
I want to go directly, if it's all right, to Hartford Healthcare and their presentation. With us tonight is Gary Havicon. And Gary, I always knew you as Senior VP, but I've seen things that say Pres, Central Region. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, I have two titles.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
So
it
I'll let
confuses me too, Victoria.
Yeah, well, that's all right. We'll use the president. It makes it really kind of formal. So Gary Havicon is with us. He's the president of the Central Region of Hartford Healthcare. And Dr. Jeff Finkelstein is with us also, vice president of medical affairs for Central Region. We have Stephanie Armelin, which is the Director of Strategic Planning and Business Development. And I understand Lisa Connolly is vice president of senior services, health services here with many facilities under her oversight. And I think there's one other person you said, Gary, I'm sorry if I didn't get it down.
That's okay. Karen Fasano is our vice president of patient care services. Yes.
Very good. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Gary, to kick us off. And I'm sure all of us are very interested in the whole presentation.
Great. Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and welcome everybody. Thank you so much for inviting us. It's so nice to see you all again. And, in a little bit more of a positive circumstance, as we've gone through kind of the real difficult kind of initial response to COVID-19. I have on the phone with us or on the screen with us today some subject matter experts around our response to COVID-19, our recovery efforts, and kind of what we're doing as we ramp up to phase 2.0, if you will. And Dr. Finkelstein will provide a lot of information around that. Excuse me. One thing I do want to do quickly is just really recognize the town council and Shane Lockwood as well. Throughout COVID, we had weekly and then sometimes daily conference calls, probably for weeks on end. Southington was always there, 100%. I remember having a discussion with Vicky and Chris Palmieri, kind of the throes of it, and just kind of going through each of the areas of focus and asking, what the town needs and vice versa. And Shane Lockwood was the first one to actually offer us additional PPE, additional, anything that we needed basically. And I'll tell you that the partnership that we had with your community was incredible and continues to be. So I just really wanted to thank you all for your support and for working with, the health system throughout COVID-19, our response. And I think the timing of this presentation is very appropriate in that we really are moving into kind of our next phase, which is a little bit different. So I want to turn the mic over to Dr. Finkelstein, who will walk you through kind of where we are, where we were, and where we're going. And please, we want to open up for dialogue and questions after he presents as well. So thank you again. And Jeff, please.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I guess I'm sharing my slides. Is that how this works? Let me see if I can do that. Can you all see my slides?
Not yet, Dr. Finkelstein.
Yeah.
Tell me when.
It's coming.
While it's coming up, for those who don't know me, my name is Jeff Finkelstein. I've been with Hartford Healthcare 17 years. I'm an emergency physician, and like a lot of people, I'm a Facebook certified infectious disease physician. No, in reality, I was waiting for someone to laugh.
I'm like, where's that job description show up?
He's also a part-time comedian, Paul. I just wanted to.
That was great.
You know, we've learned a lot in this year. I can say it's a once in a century pandemic, and I'm proud to be with Hartford Healthcare and proud of our response to date. So can you see the slide yet, or?
Not yet, Dr. Finkelstein. Have you clicked on the share button? And
I did.
all right, let me try to just make you the co-host here and see if that helps.
Let's see if I can just do my
Hey,
application.
Paul, I have it pulled up. Let me see if I can share.
Oh,
wait.
yeah. Dr. Finkelstein's, I can see
Okay.
it.
All right, you can see the slides?
Yep.
Okay. So what I want to show you is draw your eye to the bottom slide. That's the state of Connecticut. In March and April, we had an outbreak. You can see the number of cases per day. We had a great summer, July and August. And now you're seeing that we even have more cases. And I'm not sure, and no one really knows, do we have more cases because we truly have more than we had in March and April, or we just have better testing? The answer is probably yes and yes. We certainly have better testing, but it seems like we're having more cases. And what you see above that is actually our inpatient volume. So we started seeing cases in March, April, May. We peaked in the low 80s. And as of this morning, we're in the mid 50s. We're about 70% of our peak of what we were in the first phase of this pandemic, of the surge. We're seeing some differences though. We're not seeing as many people in the ICU, as many people on the ventilator, and as rapid decline. So I think the virus is as virulent, but I think with better testing, we're catching it earlier and we have better treatment that I'll go into. A little more statistics. You see the slide on the right is new confirmed cases per 1 million. It's a 7-day rolling average, and Europe is in trouble. They were doing great and they've really shot up. Yellow is North America, really the United States, and we're shooting up. And deaths are starting to tick up. I want to dispel a myth that you see on Facebook that the flu and COVID are about equal. Nothing could be further from the truth. In my 17 years here, my 25 plus years of emergency medicine, if I've seen 5 people in those 25 years die of the flu, that's about all I've seen. We've seen 5 to 10 people die on a single day. So it's very hard to tell who dies from flu and who dies from COVID, because if you have heart disease and COVID, do you die of the heart disease or COVID? So you have to look at excess deaths. And basically, these are all your excess deaths over a normal flu year. This is all COVID. So testing, great question. Who, when, how? The answer is everyone, right? We want to be testing every symptomatic person, every asymptomatic person who's exposed, and we may even get to the point where we want to test everyone every day to show whether they're infectious or not. So let's talk about the 3 different kinds of tests. This is the take-home message. It's hard to say rapid or slow. There are PCR tests that are rapid and other tests that are slow. So rather than saying rapid or slow, why don't we just say PCR, which is the very sensitive test. They can do anterior nose or posterior pharyngeal through the nose. And those tests can come back in as quick as 70 minutes or as long as 7 days. Today, Quest is averaging 54 hours median, but taking anywhere from 2 to 7 days. That's the PCR done by Quest or LabCorp. We do have rapid PCRs called Cepheid. We also have another company called Revigene who do 70-minute turnaround times. And we are trying to get as many cartridges as those types of tests so that we can test sick colleagues or every admission to the hospital and get the answer back before the patient actually leaves the emergency room. Currently, there's a national shortage of Cepheids to the point where our region's getting about 15 tests a day. That I have to adjudicate who gets those 15. And starting next week, the system should have approximately 1,500 to 1,700 of the other brand, the Revigene, which is another rapid PCR, which is incredible. We hope to get thousands more to the point where we have enough to test every sick colleague and every admission. So then the other rapid tests are usually antigen tests. So if you go to CVS, that is a rapid antigen test. They're inexpensive. And what they're really good for is if you have symptoms. So if you have a fever and a cough and your antigen test from CVS is positive, you have COVID. You don't need a PCR. You don't need another test. You have it. What it's not good for is asymptomatic people. So if you've had an exposure, you can get an antigen test. If it's positive, great. If it's negative, it's meaningless. The other thing I want to leave with you is you can't test yourself out of a quarantine. So if you have a sick person at home with COVID because they have a positive antigen test, a positive PCR, no amount of testing can get you out of that 14 days. You are quarantined for 14 days. That's what the White House tried to do. They tried to use testing in lieu of masks and social distancing. So I'll say that one last time. You cannot test yourself out of a quarantine. The last test is an antibody test. Antibody shows that you've been exposed at some point in the past. Doesn't mean you're immune. It just means you've had an exposure. And the graph on the right tells you when those tests start to become positive. So an antibody test for diagnosing asymptomatic positive, or if you have COVID, if you have symptoms now, you can't use an antibody test. The last thing I'm going to remind you is GoHealth. What they have is called a molecular test. It's close to a PCR, but it's not a PCR, but it's close enough where it is very useful if you're positive, a little less sensitive if you're asymptomatic. So we're really recommending the antigen test and the GoHealth molecular test if you have symptoms, and you can get a rapid result. So what medications do we have that we didn't have when this first started in March and April? We have remdesivir. It's the only FDA-approved drug. Has not been shown to reduce mortality, but it has been shown to reduce the length of the illness, which if I have it, I'd rather be sick less days. The only drug that's really been shown to reduce mortality is a very inexpensive drug, very common drug called Decadron or dexamethasone. It only works if you're sick enough to be in the hospital. So we're starting to see primary care physicians and urgent cares prescribe steroids for people with COVID. It doesn't work. It actually is maybe harmful. So we want to save the Decadron if you're sick enough to be in the hospital and be on oxygen. It's not been shown to work in mild COVID. Convalescent plasma.
Dr. Can I ask a question about that last drug? So is that the drug that they give you for altitude sickness if you're like climbing Everest?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Very common, inexpensive drug. A dose costs pennies.
Okay.
Convalescent plasma. We thought if we took the plasma from people who've already had COVID, spun it down, sterilized it, and gave it to other people, because it would contain antibodies, doesn't work. Maybe it was promising in the beginning, but we've stopped giving it. The One of the things I'm most excited about, other than the vaccine, is the monoclonal antibodies. It's what President Trump received. There's two companies, Regeneron and Eli Lilly. They're very close to getting approval. This will be the first drug that we could treat outpatients with. So you might come into the ER or the urgent care, get a quick test, and if you're positive, we'd give you the drug there or refer you to an infusion center. And this has been shown to reduce hospitalizations, reduce mortality, and hasten your recovery. So I'm really excited about the monoclonal antibodies. And then there's another experimental drug called tocilizumab that we've been using with someone who has this what's called cytokine storm. Again, still experimental. So one FDA-approved drug, remdesivir, one that's been shown to reduce mortality, this dexamethasone, and this monoclonal antibodies, which is on the horizon, which hopefully soon, within weeks, we'd be able to give to outpatients. So who hasn't heard about the vaccine news today? Has everyone heard about it?
No, I had not. Please.
Okay. So I'm going to read something from The Economist dated this morning. During this coronavirus blighted year, through many difficult days of isolation and fear, the world has hoped for better times. It has hoped for better treatments for COVID-19, faster testing, and better understanding of how the virus wreaks havoc on the human body. Many of these things have arrived, but one hope in particular has been uppermost: the vaccine may be found. Its fulfillment seems to be in sight. So today, this morning, Pfizer, who's one of the three, there's three leading companies with vaccines, two very similar, one different. Pfizer announced this morning that preliminary data shows that its vaccine is 90% effective.
Wow.
Physicians were hoping 70% would be a win. 90% would be a dream come true. So to have 90% effectiveness with minimal side effects, and its availability within a few weeks would be a godsend. Now, it's not a panacea, so you're going to hear it from me first. There's not going to be just one vaccine. There's going to be multiple vaccines. So with this vaccine from Pfizer does not prevent you from getting the virus. What it does is it's a messenger RNA. So you get injected with this, your body sees this RNA and it produces a protein. And then your body produces antibodies to this protein. So your body has to do something, produce a protein that then your body then can produce the antibodies to the protein. Those antibodies attack the virus, the M protein on the virus. So you still will get the virus. What it does is it reduces its basically effect on you. So you theoretically could still transmit it, but you won't get sick from it because the antibodies are attacking the virus. So you still have to wear a mask. You still can give it to people. So if you get this vaccine and then get infected with COVID, you may not get sick, but you could still transmit it to someone else. We also don't know if elderly people have enough of an immune response. That's where the other company, the AstraZeneca vaccine, which is a different type of vaccine, has been shown in elderly people to produce antibodies and an immune response. The other problems with the Pfizer vaccine is you have to keep it really, really cold. So it makes storage and dispersal around the world harder. Plus you need 2 doses 3 weeks apart. So it's going to be a while till we have enough for everyone, a while till everyone in the world can get it. But we've never, ever created a vaccine this fast and have it 90% effective. And I was really looking forward to not wearing a mask in a few months, but I think 2021 we'll have to continue to wear masks. So again, last slide. Please wear your mask correctly. Remind people the mask is to protect you a little bit. And I hear people say, how did I get COVID? I wore a mask all the time. But the people around you weren't. The goal of the mask is to protect other people from you. So please only be around people wearing masks, wearing it correctly without the nose sticking out. Wash your hands. And the highest risk things you can do is restaurants, bars, inside events where you're eating and drinking, because then your mask can't be on. So I'm happy to answer any questions or listen to any concerns or clarify something.
Any member of the council wishing to ask Dr. Finkelstein a question? You're going to have to pull it up, Paul, because I can't see. Anybody?
Vicky, if I can just, it's
Yes,
Chris.
please. Yeah, Chris.
Doctor, this was one of the most informative presentations we've had. Hartford Healthcare, you've been fantastic partners with Shane. Gary, I know you mentioned Vicky and I met with you right at the onset of this, and the confidence we have in you. We can't thank you enough, and your entire staff, and clearly, Doctor, thank you. This was so informative. I hope that a lot of our residents are able to watch this because it really was insightful.
That's
My pleasure.
Thank you, Chris. Very good. Anybody else?
Madam Chair, this is Councilman
Yes.
Lombardi.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to echo what Councilman Palmera said, and just to touch on the beginning portion of the presentation. Just looking at Hartford Healthcare as a community asset is really something special that I do not take for granted. Not only, obviously, this year has been crazy to say the least, but Hartford Healthcare, everything we do in the community, whenever there's a need, they're always there to step up in one way or another. And their footprint on our town is just phenomenal. But my question, to piggyback off of Councilman Palmera's comment about the public, watching this presentation, is there also, can we just point residents to the Hartford Healthcare homepage or something like that and just say, here's a great resource, just go there. I think that would be helpful if you could share that with us, and then maybe we could share it with the public.
Sure, the Hartford Healthcare website has a wealth of information. It plus has our numbers for our clinical command center that we stood up, I think, back in March, and it's been operating 24/7 since. We have all the testing sites with the hours. So I think it's a great website with lots of information.
And Madam Chair,
Make sure that Mark Sciotta gets that, and I know Shane does already, but Mark, if you want to distribute that to the council.
Yes, and we also we had it on our website. Did you hear what I said?
No.
No, it was on our website for many, many months. We just switched over our website, so I'll make sure it's back up there again.
Excellent.
How to get to your contact information, Gary.
Yep.
Very
Excellent.
good. Paul, you had a question?
no, I was going to just suggest that I think we have a copy of this from Lara, right? We might want to post this to our Facebook page, our town Facebook page.
Mhm.
Well, that would be fine if Hartford Healthcare is okay with that. I think it would be terrific. And also the minutes of our meeting will be prepared, and people can actually read all of the information that was given this evening, which I think is just wonderful. I'm so pleased that all of you took the time to come and keep us informed and give us encouragement. And we are so blessed to have Hartford Healthcare in our community, and look forward to many years to come. So thank you all. I don't know, Gary, is there anyone else who would like to speak?
Madam Chair, could I ask one more question of
Yeah,
Dr.
of course,
Finkelstein
Bill.
before we go? This is Bill. Dr. Finkelstein, so I read similar to what you just spoke about this morning or spoke about today. So my understanding is the biggest thing about the I don't know, I don't even want to call it a vaccine. I'm a bank lawyer, so I have no idea what your nomenclature is, but my understanding is the temperature of whatever it is, the vaccine is crucial. So do you see an issue of giving mass, a mass production as it were, or transportation of whatever? Do we need the U.S. military? I mean, I'm just asking more, what is your opinion about this virus or this vaccine and why it needs to be so cold? Can you just get it at CVS? Can you get it at a Walgreens? Or is it going to be something similar where the military is going to have to be involved? I'm just really curious your thoughts on this.
I think it's going to be widespread available once they ramp up production. I think in the beginning, it might be a little tough. I think they're going to try and do healthcare workers first to protect us. And I will be one of the first in line. I know some people are going to be scared of getting the vaccine. I think the cold will produce some challenges, but I don't think it's anything we can't overcome. So eventually, will you be able to get it at CVS? Yes.
Okay, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, very good.
Madam
Okay.
Chair?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Just a quick question. Thank you so much, Dr. Finkelstein. The medications that you had mentioned, have there been adverse effects for people or certain people that should stay away from those medications?
Well, the medications we're talking about, the remdesivir can cause liver injury. So that's why we only give it to hospitalized patients. We check their liver enzymes every day. Steroids are pretty safe, though there are side effects. It can raise your blood sugar. It can cause people to be almost hyper. But short courses are relatively safe. I mean, we use them all the time for asthma, COPD, and I've never given monoclonal antibodies, but I think it's relatively safe. So I think the liver injury from the remdesivir is the major side effect.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Okay, I don't know if Lisa wanted to just mention anything about our nursing home and rehab center.
Great.
So,
Lisa,
you
can
wanna-
you share, please, with us tonight?
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, who should we be unmuting?
Lisa Connolly.
Lisa Connolly.
I think we could unshare Doctor's screen.
Okay, I think I'm on now, and like everyone else, I must echo that Shane Lockwood has been a tremendous asset to all of us, as has our Hartford healthcare system. As you know, we operate 3 senior care facilities in the town of Southington, but we have 7 altogether, plus we have 10 group homes in Fairfield, and they are all, we are being very vigilant. We have a great partnership with DPH in all of our nursing homes and assisted livings. We are doing weekly PCR testing on our staff and on our residents when we have any positive. That has been really a lifesaver for us for identifying and preventing spread whenever possible. But I will tell you that we are in challenging times right now. We've not had a lot of penetration of COVID in this second wave in our Southington communities, but really we're a breath away from it like everybody else. And honestly, as the community spread increases, so does our risk through our staff. And unfortunately, the vast majority are asymptomatic. So I'm with Dr. Finkelstein. Test if you've been exposed, test if you are symptomatic. It is really our best way to combat. So again, just really thanking everybody for their support. We're all in this together.
And I want to thank you too, Lisa, because from the diligence over at Southington Care Center to the Orchards to Mulberry Gardens to the other programs that you oversee, there's been a continuity of care in all of them. And, as you said, it's a very dire time. But I'll tell you, there is a great deal of personal commitment and diligence in keeping our seniors safe. So I just want to thank you on behalf of the town.
Thank you.
Sure.
May
All
I
right.
give the council one more update?
Yes, of
You
course.
guys- You guys will be the first to hear. This happened just a minute ago.
Oh, good.
The government, the FDA, just gave emergency approval for monoclonal antibodies to Eli Lilly. So I was just talking about it and it just got approved.
Wow, that's amazing.
They must have heard you, Doctor.
They must have.
Their advisor.
They should. Gary, thank you so much for coming and Dr. Finkelstein and all of the folks from Hartford. We truly appreciate it. We look forward to a continued relationship with you. And anything we can do for you, we stand ready to partner. So thank you so much.
Appreciate that. And likewise, and I think it's on your calendar, but we're starting our communications again, just to kind of keep everybody up to speed. So
great.
We'll make sure that you are up to speed with everything that's going on. So thank you so much for having us tonight. It's our pleasure and our honor to be with you. Thank you.
Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you to Hartford Healthcare and their presentation. I want to go right into councilperson's communication. Does anyone have any communication that they would like to share?
I do, Madam Chair.
All right. Tom, go ahead.
Actually, I think Councilman Poulos, go ahead. I saw your hand up. So please.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair, Mr. Lombardi. I just want to take a moment to congratulate and thank Town Clerk Larkin and her staff for implementing what I would say was a flawless, successful election day. Also want to thank the Registrar of Voters. I was out of curiosity, asked for some statistics, and she shared with me earlier today that 85% of eligible voters in our town voted. Which is amazing. 32% of which had applied for absentee ballots and submitted those, and 68% voted in person. What's amazing is we had over 2,100 newly registered voters since between September 1st and Election Day. And I had an unexpected half day of work on Election Day and had the opportunity to visit all of the polling stations, just to drive around. And I have to say, things were moving so smoothly. But what impressed me the most was I visited with some of the candidates and I talked to some of the folks holding signs. And everyone was engaged, positive, and civil at the polls. And I just want to congratulate the residents of our town for their engagement in this process. It's so important. And we could not have done it without the dedication and effort of our town clerk and her staff and the registrars of voters. So I just wanted to make that comment on the record.
Yeah, that's a great comment, and it's so true. I agree with you. There has been very little difficulty at the polling places, and not like some other places in the state and in the country. So we are very grateful that we are from Southington, and we have a mutual respect here. That was great. Thanks, Chris.
Top notch.
That's right.
Thank you, Chris.
Oh, yeah. And so, Tom, you were going to speak?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, Councilman Poulos covered what I was going to mention as well. Obviously, without I do not have all the statistics and figures that Councilman Poulos came with this evening. But yes, Kathy Larkin's office, and I know Kathy is never one to really take credit, but really awesome job. I know it wasn't just election day. It was a lot of time beforehand and everything going into that, and the registrars of voters. But I think it is important for the council to also communicate to the public that the Board of Finance and the Town Council, we did approve additional funding for this election cycle. So I think it is important that we keep an eye on this in the future, because if the registrars or voters are telling the town manager or the town Board of Finance or council that they need additional resources, we need to take that very seriously, because, you know, having good elections and fair elections is something that should be paramount to everyone in Southington. So I was glad that was supported by everyone. So thank you again to everyone involved, and congratulations to everyone who stepped up to run for public office this year.
Chris Palmieri.
Just while we're on the election, the rest for the overwhelming support for our roads. What's great is that we can share with them that we have a thoughtful plan based on data that we've been collecting. So we're ready to implement the plan with fidelity, so we can prioritize the roads that are in need. It may not always necessarily be the roads that are the worst, because there's a factor to calculate which roads need to be completed so we can save in the long range for the repairs and hopefully avoid costlier repairs in the future. So the margin that the referendum was successful was overwhelming, and just like to thank all the residents for coming out and supporting our roads. It's an important infrastructure for the whole town.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe the town manager is also going to speak on that. So that's pretty exciting. It was overwhelming. So thank you, Chris. Yep. Val?
Oh, yes, thanks, Madam Chair. So I'd like to just agree with everything that's been said so far about the election and Councilman Palmieri, the roads. I also wanted to just mention briefly the documentary entitled No Small Matter. I know Council, we've received an email from Joanne Kelleher, the director of the Early Childhood Collaborative in Southington. And if there's any residents that might want to watch this documentary, I did just a bit of research on it, and it's a documentary about the importance of high quality early childhood education. It has gotten just really tremendous reviews. And one comment was that all elected officials and Congress people and senators, everybody should watch this documentary. So I just wanted to put it out there, and if some of us could watch it, that would be great. If any residents want to watch it, we can send them the link. So maybe if they send us an email, we can get the link to them so that they can watch it.
That's great. Great.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Madam Chair, Mike Del Santo.
Yes, Mike, go ahead.
As we know, last Friday, the state of Connecticut went back to phase 2.1, which once again limited the number of patrons that can go into some businesses, but primarily restaurants. So I'm putting the plate again. This is very damaging to our local businesses and most importantly, our restaurants. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said most importantly, but importantly, our restaurants. Without outdoor dining, ironically, it's been 78 degrees the past 3 or 4 days, but that's coming to an end. As we all know, seasons change fairly quickly here in Connecticut. Without the outdoor dining, they're going to be struggling. So I'm going to put the play out there once again. If you have a few extra bucks, order dinner from your favorite restaurant, order takeout, order family style meals. There are plenty of options out there. Please support local. Once again, they need us now more than ever. That's it. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to bring up that on November 11th, just in a couple of days, is our Veterans Day. And it always happens on the 11th month at the 11th hour. And so at 11 o'clock in the morning in front of our American Legion, there will be a small gathering, all socially distant. But I know some of the council will be there. I will not be able to make it this year. But if any of the residents want to go, you can, as long as you're socially distant, wearing masks. But if you can't make it, if you feel that you can't come out and join the group, but please remember and have a good thought and a prayer for the families of our vets. And without us, we would not have our country. Without them, we would not have our country. So I just wanted to mention Veterans Day and wish all of the vets a big thank you from our community and a God bless you from our hearts. So that's all. Anything else from anyone? Okay, hearing none, let's just get right into the reports of special committees. I have two. Open space. Paul, are you going to speak on open space?
Yes, Madam Chair, thanks. And please, Councilman Palmieri, add in as you see fit. We're proud that we've been able to move a couple more of the purchases forward, specifically the one we voted on last meeting, which is the horse farm on Lanning. And tonight we'll be voting on Sherry Drive. We're extremely happy that we've been able to work with the owner of these parcels to come to some agreement to preserve the land here for the town of Southington for a long time to come. So we're really happy there. We're working on moving the shed that's been donated and by the that's sitting at the high school. We have some logistics. We received some word that should be done in December with the help of the highway department. So we're hopeful that that'll be done hopefully before we see snow again. And we have maintenance going on various parcels, as I called out on the last meeting, a couple barns in town that we're focused on. Other than that, Chris, is there anything from your side that you wanted to add?
No, I just want to echo that, Paul, and thank Dave LaValle, who met with you and myself and David, who's the teacher from the high school on site on Pleasant Street. So hopefully we'll see that soon. And also Annette and the highway department for their guidance with the project.
Great. Any questions for Paul or Chris? Hearing none, we'll move right on to Public Works. Mike, I think that's your area.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have to go back 1 second for Council Matter Communications and congratulate fellow council member Lombardi for a new addition to his family. Congratulations to Tom and his wife. They have a new child. Congratulations. I forgot all about that.
Thank you. I will be cutting down on my sleep.
Probably so. But we did have our Public Works meeting last Wednesday, November 4th. It was a very quick, somewhat uneventful meeting, but just some highlights of the meeting is that we do have a solution to try to limit some of the cars that are backing up onto Old Turnpike Road at the transfer station. And the highway staff, the highway park staff came up with a plan to add 2 additional lanes inside the entrance of the transfer station. And by doing so, they would be able to add approximately 66 additional cars inside the property. So we're thinking that that's going to eliminate any cars heading out onto Old Turnpike Road, which would really give the neighbors in that area a break, which would be wonderful. So they're going to enact probably, I'm not sure how quickly it's going to be done, but like I said in the past, that the times where we really have lots and lots of cars are, fall cleanups, spring cleanups, and after a big storm. So we're hoping by the next big event, this will be taken care of. Okay. There was supposed to be the ribbon cutting last week at Memorial Park, but that's been postponed until the spring. So more information to follow. The official leaf pickup started on Monday, and that's in full force and effect. If the residents are questioning when their leaves are going to be picked up, they can always either contact myself or they can go on to the southington.org website, and the schedule of leaf pickup is always there. Snow contractors have been picked and selected, and their award letters have gone out. So hopefully it won't be too soon, but if snow happens, we'll have a crew out there clearing the snow. And then general maintenance is going on at all the town parks, just various things around town. The town hall had some repairs, steps and railing paintings, and just some busy work until the full force of winter hits our folks. Other than that, I know the town council and the whole town is on bated breath during when the turn lane on Spring Street is going to be happening, and the wheels are in motion. And I'm very delighted to say that hopefully the project will get off its feet and start in the spring. So I know there's been lots of, for years and years and years, we've been waiting for that to happen to try to eliminate some of the backup on Spring Street. And then this past Saturday, there was the household hazardous waste pickup in Bristol, which Southington cooperates with. I don't have the numbers. I can report out at our next meeting to get the numbers for Bristol happen. And we are absolutely working on trying to get an event here in Southington for next year. Other than that, is there any questions? I'm not sure if Mr. Pullis or Mr. Czaplinski has anything to add from our meeting.
I do have just a question, and I'm just throwing it out to you, Mike. Downtown, what we've seen this fall is kind of, around the trees that are planted on Center Street, there's grates by the trunk going into the ground. Yes. Some of those grates buckled, and a woman almost fell last week. So
here.
Yeah, right in front of Pepper Pot. So she didn't fall. She kind of made a joke of it. But I think it would be good before the winter if we had somebody just check those grates. If that sometimes it's the root system of the tree kind of buckling them up or whatever. But if somebody could just take a look at that, I would feel much better doing a little bit of due diligence to making sure that those grates are, because now they're eating outside or whatever, and so you're kind of forced to kind of get by the table. So,
I'll take care of that. I'll take care of that, Madam Chair.
Oh, thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria.
Sure. Listen, we're going to go into the town manager's report at this time. However, I do want to hand the gavel this evening over to Vice Chairman Tom Lombardi. He's going to take on the operation of the council meeting tonight. I feel he's ready to roll. I mean, he just had a daughter, so what else? He needs the gavel. So I'm going to take my leave. Good night, everybody, and we'll see you soon. All right, Tom, you're in charge. Good
Thank
night.
you, Madam Chair. Yes, what better way to prepare me for the council meeting than a new daughter? So yeah, with that, I will hand it over to the town manager for his report.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. The first thing I have was touched base on by Mr. Palmieri. I want to personally thank all the residents and the voters of the town of Southington. They showed a lot of confidence in our office, the Public Works office, the council, the Board of Finance, and voted 2.5 to 1 on behalf of the referendum, which is a very, very large number. So we don't take this lightly. As Mr. Palmieri already mentioned, we did a lot of legwork on this. We have computer programs working for us. We've already put forth the next 4 years, which we figure will be the road projects. That'll be tinkered around a little bit. Every February, we'll take a look at it, depending on the funding we have from the state. But the bottom line is this is a great thing for the town of Southington. It puts us on the path of always having our roads maintained. And I do believe this is something that the council and the residents will be proud of. So thank you on behalf of myself, Ms. Turnquist, as well as the town council, to all the people who voted for it. Appreciate it. Without any other questions, the next thing we have is something we do every year. This is required to be filed with Kathy's office, and this is our schedule for town council meetings. It's not changing from last year. Obviously, we're going to have our normal 2 council meetings a month, except July, August, and December. There are a couple of Tuesdays we have to do depending on the holidays. So other than that, any questions on your schedule? Okay. If not, these are 2 contracts that, although we approved them last year, they really didn't go into fruition last year. The first one is the coordinator and the assistant coordinator for the apple harvest. With that being said, the amounts haven't changed. They're still receiving the same amount they were going to receive last year. If you remember correctly, after June, they waived their right to receive funding. And I appreciate that. And I know the council does also, as well as the Apple Harvest Committee. With that being said, I'm looking for them later on in the agenda. As I mentioned, the contract has not changed since last year. Also, as part of the deal last year with the sponsorship coordinator, she received $5,000, which is the seed money to begin getting sponsorships. It was agreed upon between the Apple Harvest Committee and the sponsorship coordinator that she would hold that money. We would re-sign the contract for the 21 festival, and the first $5,000, which would normally be seed money, is already acknowledged by her, and that's already in the contract. Any questions on that? Okay. If there's no questions on that, Mr. Vice Chair, we will be having executive session, and we'll not do any action outside of executive session.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. And just for the record, the executive session will include the town attorney, the town council, and the town manager, and nobody else.
Correct.
Thank you. I will now any further questions for the town manager from any council members? No. Hearing none, I will hand it over to the town attorney.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lombardi. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right, great. I always have to check my, they're always on their Zoom meetings and the microphone gets messed up, so I appreciate it. There's 2 items on my report tonight. The first one, if you remember your last meeting, you sent a referral over to the Planning and Zoning for their recommendation on 55 Sherry Drive. On November 4th, the Planning and Zoning meeting, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted to send a favorable recommendation regarding the 824 referral for the purchase of 55 Sherry Drive in the amount of $400,000. So you guys will be taking action on accepting this referral. And the second item is you will be voting on the approval to let the town manager sign this contract for the purchase tonight. Is there any questions on any of these? Hearing no questions, that is for tonight.
Hey, Mr. Chair, or Mr. Vice Chair, I'm sorry, this is Bill.
Go ahead, Bill. Councilman Deaton.
Attorney Taylor, I do not expect you to have the answer to this question. I wrote it down last night when I was preparing and I just remembered today. So I was checking out you remember the Brownfield, Beaton and Corbin friendly foreclosure that we agreed upon, I think it was earlier in this past year?
Yes.
So I was just following what the state filed in that action, and I'm not expecting you to have the answer tonight, but it seems like the state is asking for some sort of like recharacterization or redescription of what their lien rights are. I'm just curious, more just from a bystander, does that impact the action, or does it impact any actions going forward? Or is it just kind of the state maybe possibly being difficult, or again, I'm not expecting to have the answer tonight. I did not mean to spring it on you. I just remembered it right now. And I forgot it last night, so I don't want to forget it again tonight.
That's no problem, Councilman Dzik. As far as I know, everything is planned. Obviously, as you know, because that's part of your business, that the foreclosure actions have been stalled in the court for a long time. So now they are just getting going again. I do not have any exact answer on your question tonight, but I can look into it, but I haven't been made aware of any problems going forward.
Okay, yeah, I didn't expect you to have an answer tonight. I just didn't want to forget about it. So if you can just put it on your list and maybe in the next week or two. I'm curious if it's going to impact what's going on. That was all.
Jeremy, this is Mark, if I may, Mr. Vice Chair. Jeremy, double check. I believe that's the old DEP lien that's on the property back from many, many years ago. The state is the DEP on that. That's back when it was called the DEP. So double check. I think that's the one that Bill is talking about.
Exactly, Mr. Schroeder. That's exactly what I was asking about. Yeah.
Sure, I'll look into that and I can report back to you.
Okay.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Excellent. Are there any other questions for the town attorney? All right. Hearing none, I will open it up to public communication. And just a reminder, state your name and address for the record. And comments are limited to 5 minutes at my discretion. So as we have done in the past, if you are on the WebEx, you could write a note in the chat box saying that you would like to say something. If not, if you're on the call-in number, we will open up the call-in numbers and then hear from you then. So at this point, I will open it up to public communication.
Mr. Vice Chair, if it's okay, just for logistics, we can ask the people who are on their computers first, and then I'll open up the lines.
Yes, let's please do that. Members on the computer first. Looks like nobody on the computer, Councilman Triplinski. So let's go ahead and open up the phone line.
Okay, Mr. Vice Chair, opening the call-in users.
Call-in users are open. If you'd like to speak, please speak now. Okay. Looks like we have no public communication this evening. So at this point, we will move on to old business. I will first be looking for an action for letter A, action on the adoption of the 2021 town council meeting schedule. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Vice Chair, this is Mike Del Santo. I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion made by Del Santo, seconded by DiPaolo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Councilman Poulos, you're in favor? Correct. Okay. That motion passes 8-0. Next motion, item B, action on the Apple Harvest Lead Coordinator and Assistant Contract.
I'll make a motion to award contract.
Do we have a second? Chaplinsky, okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that?
I just want to echo Mark's thanks. Dave and Julia really did a great job. Even after we made the decision, there was still work to be done, and they continue to do that to make sure that we had a smooth transition. Unfortunate cancellation for this year. So shout out to both of them.
I agree, Councilman Palmieri. All right, any further discussion? No. All right, let's do a, all those in favor on this?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes 8-0. Item C, action on the Apple Harvest Festival sponsorship consultant contract. Do I have a motion?
I can also make a motion to award the Apple Harvest Festival sponsorship consultant to Melissa Erickson.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Councilwoman DiPaolo, thank you. Any discussion on that one?
Tom, same thing. I just want to thank Melissa. Obviously, we had some people who had committed to be sponsors, not a lot because of the situation, but hopefully they'll decide to return. So, thank you to Melissa for agreeing.
Thank you. All right, without any further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes 8-0. The next one will be item D, action on the 824 referral to planning zoning for 55 Sherry Drive. Do I have a
I'll
motion?
make a motion, Mr. Vice Chair. This is Paul.
Chaplinsky.
Second, Mike Del Santo.
Second by Del Santo. Any discussion on this? I know we've discussed this in the last couple of meetings, but is there anything to discuss this evening?
Mr. Vice Chair, if I may, I'll speak on this one and the next one. Just a shout out, thanks to town staff, Dave LaValle, and for his hard work, and also to Attorney Taylor for his hard work with meeting with the owner. A special thanks to the owner for for working with the town with a genuine desire to preserve land for the community. So thanks to each of those.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, since this is an open space item, I would like to, the town clerk to call the roll on this, please.
Palmieri,
Yes.
Poulos,
Yes.
Chaplinsky,
Yes.
Del Santo, DiPaolo,
Yes.
Dudzik,
Yes.
Lombardi.
Yes. Thank you. Motion passes 8-0. Item E, action on the 824 contract for purchase of 55 Sherry Drive.
I'll make a motion to also approve that, Mr. Vice Chair.
Do I have a second? For a second.
Second, Del Santo.
I'll thank you, Councilwoman DiPaolo, for the second. All right, a motion and a second. Any discussion? No? Would the town clerk please call the roll?
Palmieri,
Yes.
Poulos,
Yes.
Chaplinsky,
Absolutely.
Del Santo,
Yes.
DiPaolo,
Yes.
Dudzik,
Yes.
Lombardi.
Yes. Thank you. Motion passes 8-0. Under new business, we have item A, the tax refunds.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lombardi. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the tax refunds that are outlined in our packet.
I'll second, Mr. Vice Chair.
Second by Councilman Chaplinsky. All those, any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes. Is there any new business to come before the council this evening? Okay, hearing none. I will be looking for a motion to go into executive session, and just to reiterate, it is with the town council and the town attorney and the town manager, and there will be no action after the executive session. So do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you, Councilman Chaplinsky and Councilman Palmieri, and thank you to the public for tuning in this evening. All those in favor of the motion to adjourn?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, council members, and please log off of this meeting and log into the executive session one.
Let's see. So I gotta leave the meeting.